Okay. Well, welcome everybody out tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. We are the Molecular and Cellular Biology Club at the University of Arizona, and we are a student-run organization, but I'll get more into that later. But we'd, first of all, just really like to thank you guys for coming out tonight. We have a lot of good information, a lot of amazing things that happen within STEM. And tonight we hope to really be able to come together and really analyze these amazing opportunities and careers and growing fields that we have to share with you tonight. So with that being said, I will share my screen and we will get started with the presentation. Okay, so just like what I was talking about, the careers for molecular and cellular biology majors are extensive. There are so many different types of jobs you can do in so many different careers. And that is because this major is so multidisciplinary. You learn so many skills, you kind of develop into a person that has a lot of the characteristics that employers want. And that's all through the curriculum and the rigor of this amazing, amazing major. We're all MCB majors, all of us on the board, and we absolutely just love our degree. It's just one of the best ones out there. I mean, you know, not biased or anything, but I'll go ahead and get started. Okay, yeah, so just a little bit more about us. Again, Molecular and Cellular Biology Club, MCB Club. And we're just like a group of students who come together, bond and nerd out over science. We all love STEM. This is a safe place to share your love for science and all things like that. Our biggest aim is to be an inclusive, inviting environment for people from all races, all backgrounds, all sexualities. We want to make sure that this is a safe place for everybody to come and be included within the major, as well as be able to like interact socially with other people who are in the major and who are not in the major, but still have an interest in molecular and cellular biology. Again, student-run organization. We have some advisors who really help out in the behind-the-scenes work, but we're completely student-run, which is something that I think is very cool. Helps give us leadership opportunities, as well as kind of it's a fun place, so supervision isn't like super necessary, you know, because we're all adults. And then what we do as a club is we do outreach, we volunteer, we do group meetings all the time. And we do a lot more. And then again, it's kind of been adapted for COVID. So that's why we're doing everything online. But normally we have a very engaging group going on with a lot of cool projects. Okay, so like what is molecular and cellular biology? So cellular biology is the branch of biology dealing with the study of cells, especially their formation, structure, and function. So the cell is just sort of like the basis of biology. And so as MCB majors, we dissect and understand cells better. However, that may be in analyzing different proteins that are found in the cell, or analyzing DNA, or all these different things. Those are all part of cellular biology, kind of what makes the cell. And molecular biology is the study of biology that deals with structure, function, and manipulation of nucleic acids and proteins. So the two are very intertwined, and that's why we kind of deal with them together at the University of Arizona. I know a lot of people and a lot of other universities like to separate these two, but they fundamentally work together. And so that's one of the cool things about the University of Arizona in particular, is that both disciplines are intertwined and they're not really as separated, which provides a more overarching education system, which is really neat. Okay, and then again, why is MCB so valuable? One of the biggest things is just the breadth and scope of all the possible occupations that you can have. There are many, many different fields that you can go into, whether that be research directly or even in business, like analyzing from research in more of a personal type of way. Like these skills are so valuable, and then they're able to be adapted to many different realms of work, realms of study. And this is something that really is able to help people learn those fundamental traits that you need to have in order to be successful in the career field and beyond. So again, we love MCB, And I have learned, at least for myself, I can speak for myself, that I have learned so many valuable traits that aren't exactly related to biology, which has really helped shape my life. For example, one of the things that I've learned being an undergrad in MCB is to be fearless, which has nothing to do with biology. But being able to see a problem and try to create a solution in which I can solve that problem has developed in me a sense of fearlessness that has helped my career path as well as my professional development continue to increase. So there's tons of little personality traits that you pick up as well in this fantastic major. Okay, so now we're going to talk about different career paths that you can take within the healthcare region.
All right, so let's get into the first career you could probably choose. So a pathology is the study of tissues and cells in order to make a diagnosis on health. So this is a doctorate degree, which you can get through medical school. And how do you apply MCB ideas in this career path? So pathology, you look at tissues and cells. So that's a big part of molecular and cellular biology, where you can go and identify cells and tissues and the problems with them in order to complete your diagnosis and design a treatment in order to solve the issue. And ability to use a microscope is extremely important with this job. So when you get into the MCB major, tons of classes always use microscopes, especially the labs, which correlate with the classes, in which you can get hands-on experience with looking at tissues and cells. So the median wage is very high at about $245,000, and the requirements for this job is 4 years of med school and about 2 to 4 years in residency.
Great. So I'm going to be taking over this next one. So another role in healthcare that you can take on after receiving a major in MCB is the role of a pharmacist. An example of this is our actually club's president from last year. You'll see right here, this is actually Emma Wu. She's currently at the University of Washington, but she did her undergraduate major here at the U of A. And right now she's studying to become a pharmacist. So in the real world, as I'm sure you all know, pharmacists prepare medications prescribed by doctors, but they are also instrumental in really monitoring patients and the effectiveness of clinical drug therapies. In terms of how this major or how this career relates to our major, you will have to apply organic chemistry to ensure a drug is pure and safe for a patient, and also have an understanding of how a drug may interact with a patient's body. The average wage is about $124,000 a year, but you do have to attend a lot of professional school. So typically, to be hired as a pharmacist, you must receive a Doctor of Pharmacy after graduating with your MCB major. And this is typically achieved in about 4 years. And this next one, I will again cite another MCB alum. This is Ayumi Pottinger. She graduated back in 2019 from the U of A. She is currently also at the University of Washington and is pursuing a career as an infectious disease research scientist. This is the type of scientist who conducts studies on microbes and pathogens to protect or give research on infectious diseases, which again, even more important right now, especially as we're in the wake of COVID-19. And Ayumi is applying what she learned here at the U of A's MCB program by studying patterns and mechanisms in cells that she's developed through cell cultures and other molecular techniques that you're going to learn through lab work here on campus. The average wage for this career is about $100,000 per year. And again, this takes a lot of professional school. However, it's worth it. And so in addition to your time here at the U of A, infectious disease research scientists typically attend graduate school to attend a master's or a PhD, which can take anywhere from 2 to 6 years.
The next job is dentistry. So dentistry is where you pretty much repair and keep oral and dental health up to check. There's a lot of stuff you can do with dentistry, including dental surgery. You can do orthodontistry, and there's a lot of stuff you can do with dentistry. So how do you apply these MCB ideas to dentistry? So understanding the ways to treat gums, teeth, nerves, all of those in a complex array in the mouth. So, teeth are an organ of the body. So they are very useful in order to eat and do all this stuff. So they're very important parts of the body. And you apply MCB ideas such as looking at the cellular makeup of these organs in your mouth in order to complete your diagnosis and make sure that they're in tip-top shape. So the median wage for a dentist is about $158,000, which is quite a lot, but you do have to go to 4 years of professional school, pretty much 4 years of dental school after you graduate with an MCB major. And you also, I believe, have to complete 1 to 2 years of residency, depending on what type of dentistry you want to go. So if you want to do general dentistry, I believe it's 2 years. And if you want to do orthodontistry, it must be more. So. Oh, the next job you can also do is marine biology, which is a very interesting career path to choose. So the marine biologists study life in oceans and the environment around life itself in the oceans. So as you know, oceans is so vast. We've only found about, is it 3 to 5% of the oceans we've covered? So it's great to study life and the environment around life in the oceans, especially how different it is compared to us on land. So how do you apply these MCB ideas to marine biology? So basically studying unicellular and multicellular organisms in the ocean. So again, correlating the cellular part of it, and you can correlate with the molecular part of it with how these animals interact with the environment. So the oceans are very important because they also make up, I think, 90% of the oxygen we breathe with the unicellular, what do you call them again? Unicellular bacteria and unicellular plant life that exists in the ocean. So the median wage is about $32,000 a year. And the requirements for this job is a minimum bachelor's degree in natural sciences, which MCB is a natural science. So that works.
Again, so as Alyssa emphasized, MCB is really a program that allows for the intersection of many different topics. So with this being said, I'll show you another friend of mine who I actually met in my classes. She too majored in MCB and she's going on to bigger and greater things. So this Kaylee, she just graduated last year and she's currently attending the U of A's vet school, which just opened this year, I believe. Many of you know what a veterinarian is, but may have not seen this career from the perspective of an MCB student. So as we know, veterinarians treat our pets or our animals. So getting a degree in MCB gives you a leg up in this career because you will need to understand how pets get parasites and diseases, look at pathology reports, and prescribe based on what you think is going to be best for that patient. The average starting wage for this career is about $95,000 a year and requires a doctoral degree, which can be achieved in about 4 to 6 years, depending on the program that you attend.
So this next job is a genetic counselor, and a genetic counselor works to assist people with genetic conditions. So they can tell you what tests to get and how your conditions might be passed on to your kids or what risk you could be at for breast cancer, ovarian cancer, or other types of Huntington diseases or vision or hearing problems. So how do we apply MCB ideas to genetic counseling profession? They basically analyze genetic data from individuals, which is the test I was talking about, and then they will work with you and your family, either as a prenatal genetic counselor or a pediatrics or a cancer or neurology genetic counselor. And the median annual wage is about $72,000. However, you do have to do 2 years of a master's degree in genetic counseling.
So besides the healthcare sector, if you're not maybe interested in working directly with people or animals, but you are really interested in scientific ideas, there is a way to use science as a tool and MCB as a tool in your later life. And one of the ways that you can do that is to apply it to the justice and criminal system. For example, you can serve on science and technology committees. These are basically groups that are made up of people who are really interested in a specific field, and they help provide advice on ethical and legal issues to whoever needs it. So companies like biotech companies might contact you. Honestly, like now during COVID, we had a lot of people contact committees on like virology. And so if you're really interested in the intersection between like law and helping people basically in political science deal with molecular biology and that kind of stuff, this is like one way that you can do that. So the way that they basically use MCB is they take these ideas, they break them down to people just so that the general public can understand them. So it's kind of also like spreading the knowledge, it's applying these ideas, it's using MCB as a tool to help the population at wide while like not doing like specifically research or being a doctor. So the annual wage of somebody at a committee would be about $40,000 a year. And the only like requirements really depend on whatever committee it is and what level of committee it is. But basically you have to be really knowledgeable in the field that you're in. So usually this will be people that have worked in that field for a few years. Not necessarily like they have a doctorate degree, but they just have to have a lot of experience in whatever field it is that you're on the committee of. Or another career that kind of merges law with science ideas is being a patent lawyer. So what patent lawyers do is they help usually biotech companies and they advise them on whether a thing can be patented or not. And they kind of deal with the ethical issues that we all face in our daily society. For example, one that I've heard recently in my classes is, can DNA be patented? Is that something that's common to all humans and can't be patented because like we're all people, it's part of nature? Or is it like when somebody engineers a new gene, can that be patented? Is that something that is, you know, their knowledge? So patent lawyers deal with this kind of issue. They have to obviously study law and learn that side of it, but they also have to understand like what is gene, how does that communicate with nature? So they have to like have all of that MCB ideas in order to be able to kind of marry these two fields together. So the annual wage for this kind of lawyer would be similar to other lawyers, around $150,000 a year. And because you are a lawyer, you are required to do everything that lawyers have to do, which includes passing the bar exam and getting a law degree. But because you're also a science lawyer working for a biotech company, a degree in STEM or MCB specifically, if you want to deal with like DNA and stuff, is necessary for this career too.
All right. So another great position that you can take on after receiving your MCB degree is the role of a forensic science technician. So if you've ever watched those cop TV shows, yes, detectives are important to figuring out an investigation. However, what's never really highlighted is the importance of science in solving a crime. So as a forensic science technician, you will collect and analyze evidence from crime scenes and use scientific principles to support or negate theories based on your observations. And how does this information apply to MCB majors? Aside from generating and testing hypotheses and theories on a daily basis, you'll need to know how to use spectrometry to find trace amounts of chemicals, which will help you determine, where a criminal or a piece of evidence came from, which I honestly think is really cool. The average wage for this career is about $60,000 per year and only requires a bachelor's degree. So after you receive your degree here at the U of A, you can go straight off into it, which is always great.
So another group of jobs that you can do is outreach. So again, if you're really interested in science, but perhaps law or healthcare isn't the job for you, maybe you love educating people about science and explaining ideas so that everybody can understand them. In this case, outreach or education is the way for you to go. So I think Caitlin will introduce some jobs with that too.
Yeah. All right. So if you're someone who's interested in pursuing a career in science, which I'm guessing you are if you're here tonight, you likely have had some interaction with a science teacher that, push you to go into this career field. This world is always in need of teachers and having those influences on, our future leaders in science after us. And luckily, the U of A's MCB program offers a special designation if educating others is something you would really like to pursue. In this role, you would educate students or even the public on biological processes, which means you have to have a pretty firm understanding of biological topics and applying them where they're applicable. The average salary varies based on, the level that you teach. For middle and high school teachers, you typically earn about $45,000 a year. However, at a collegiate level, the average salary is about $85,000 per year. The only requirements are that you have a degree in some form of natural science, i.e. MCB. However, a master's is typically preferred, and some form of experience with teaching, no matter what it is.
Another job that you can hold if you're really interested in educating people or about science is you could be an outreach or recruitment coordinator. And pictured here is actually Erin Bealey. Some of you guys might have interacted with her before. She is the director for recruitment and engagement for the College of Science here at U of A. She's really awesome. But basically what she and other people for this job would do is they would set up events that would spread basically science literacy to the next generation. So educating kids about wanting to do science or helping students pick science as their career and explain what science could do for them. And if they're interested in that, for example, like we're doing this meeting, like what kind of jobs could be possible for that, what path they might want to take. So the way that you would use MCB ideas in this kind of career is, again, you have to kind of understand how science works in order to be able to advise people in order to help their career, or in order to be able to explain science to little kids. So really there's a variable ways to apply your MCB ideas in this kind of a career. And the median annual wage for somebody like this would be around $60,000 a year. And requirements would be degree in biology or just generally science. Depending on what you want to be, you might want to be specific with MCB. And then another engagement or outreach career that you could do is you could have your own nonprofit, basically organization. So this here is actually my aunt, Dr. Pavlikova, who she used to be a pathologist, like we described at the start of the presentation. She used to work in oncology, but then she decided that really what she was into was teaching science to other people and basically bringing up the next generation and creating awareness for some diseases that are present in our society. Specifically, she's really interested in educating people about cancer. So basically the people who create nonprofits are usually interested in a specific disease, and they create that nonprofit to advocate for that disease and teach awareness about it. This can be like Alzheimer's, cancers, all sorts of different diseases. And this is really meant for people who love spreading awareness about diseases. So I don't know if a lot of you know about how working even in the lab works, but basically if you're a PI, which means principal investigator, like the boss, the head of the lab, a lot of what you do is talk to different people who'd like donate money to you to do your experiments. This is called grant writing. You basically write a big proposal like, hey, these experiments are important. The research we're doing is important. And all the other part of, leading a lab is doing the science. But if you're really interested in that grant writing and like spreading the awareness, this is the path for you to go. And again, the way that you apply MCB ideas is understanding the science so that you could advocate for it and explain it to other people. Median wage for this might be around $50,000. It's a little bit low, but it's a nonprofit. So usually the people who go into this do it for the joy of it and because they feel a pull towards it, not necessarily just for the money. And requirements for something like this would be possibly having a doctorate degree or just having a lot of experience in whatever you're advocating for, which you might get through just working as a technician too.
Alrighty, so this is basically a lot of the jobs that we've outlined for you guys, but there are tons and tons and tons of other jobs that you can do with this degree. So if you guys have heard of any or can think of any other jobs, feel free to put them in the chat. We'd love to see your ideas. We'll do this for like a minute or two, and then we'll jump into the questions right after. No worries, we can jump right into questions. Anybody have any questions for us or anything you guys would like to share or add or anything? Can a degree in MCB be good for med school? Great question. The answer is an astounding yes. It actually looks very good on med school applications, especially if you use your MCB degree to do research, especially like at a university level. That looks great for med schools. They're always looking for people who have experience in the lab, experience in hospitals beyond shadowing. Shadowing is good, but they want you to do more like hands-on things most of the time, such as like EMT or any sort of volunteer work, anywhere really.
Also, the classes that MCB provides really translate well with the MCAT exam. For instance, the MCAT has a hefty amount of biochemistry on it, and molecular and cellular biology is very close with biochem, pretty much almost exactly the same on content level. And you have to take the typical classes you do for an MCB major, like organic chemistry, gen chem, gen bio. All those stuffs are very important on the MCAT. Also, I believe the MCB major offers a 1-credit class on like critical thinking and stuff in the medical field, which I think I'm taking next semester, which is very useful for the critical thinking portion of the MCAT. So the major translates very well for preparation for MCAT and also for preparation for like extracurriculars you want to do and lab work.
Okay, so we have a question. Additionally, sorry, my thing is going crazy. Okay, so what advice would you give to a senior in high school about going to a college to pursue a biology major? Great question. I'll let a lot of the other board members talk about this, but the first thing I really want to emphasize is, especially if you're going to a college where you don't know anybody else, that's what I did. Please, please, please find somebody you can talk to, whether that be a faculty member or somebody who is a couple years older than you, who's still an undergrad. If you could become really close to a graduate student, find somebody and then ask your questions. Like, just rapid fire, you know, whatever questions you have, because they're the ones who have the answers. And I don't know about you guys, but I knew nothing going into college. I didn't know what I was going to do or anything like that. And so I think my mentors were a big thing for me. So that would be my personal recommendation. Does anybody else have any recommendations?
Mine kind of goes hand in hand with that. I would just say make as many connections as you can, because that's how you're going to get your foot in the door, honestly. I would say all of the internships that I've done, or even like my study abroad program, was definitely because I had a connection with the professor or some student who was in that program.
And hand in hand to go in that, join clubs like this one, because you'll meet a lot of great people who perhaps know of really good opportunities and can tell you. And it can also help you excite you for new things, or like show you possible career options you never thought of. Like, I didn't know that genetic counseling was a thing until this year when I went to a club meeting from the genetic counseling club, and I was like, wow, this is actually a really great career that I might want to try. So absolutely go out there and do everything you can. I mean, obviously, like, take time to rest and stuff, but join clubs, get yourself out there, talk to people.
Okay, well, if that's it for the board, we can jump to our next question. I noticed a lot of classes in MCB are similar to those in biochemistry. Is a double major in biochemistry an option? Great question. Yes, it is. So I know Victoria, myself are double major biochemistry and molecular and cellular biology. I don't know if Anthony is. No? Okay. So I know me and Victoria are, and that's honestly been one of the nicest things, is that they really are closely intertwined. You can do a lot of classes that count for both, which is so nice. And so that's actually something that I think has been quite cool to do at the U of A. Victoria, do you have anything you want to add about that?
Yeah, I had to take I think it was like 4 or 5 extra classes in order to get my biochemistry Bachelor of Science degree. So it's extremely easy to double major, and I think they're a great fit together too, just because the information kind of overlaps and builds on each other. So in biochemistry, you'll learn more like about the structure of proteins, and in MCB, you'll learn about like kind of how the proteins interact together. But that's so interrelated that honestly, like, both of the information in the courses kind of overlap a little bit, and it's really nice kind of review sometimes.
Okay, so our next comment is, additionally, med school isn't a focus for me. I've made some minuscule changes to my class, plan for an MCB degree in order to stay on a pre-med track, just in case I change my mind. Great idea. Honestly, great idea. I know so many people who have started off wanting to go into industry, and then like halfway through been like, oh, I want to do pre-med. I've known people who have been MCB who decide to go to law school and, you know, pursue graduate fields in any number of different things. I think that the best thing about MCB is you really have those 4 years to really decide what you want to do, rather than starting off with a major that's really focused in one lane. For example, like, I'm also a religious studies major. You can't really do much with that, you know, like I do it because I love it and it's fun, but you know, I really honestly have that one track of like getting a PhD in religious studies if I decide to go that route. So that's the cool thing about MCB, is you can do exactly what you're doing, you know, wait until last second to make up your mind whether or not you want to go to med school or not. Okay. Okay, so do you have MCB students in the biotech industry right now, more specifically on the business/marketing side of things? Also, do any MCB students go on to get MBAs after undergrad, or mix business and MCB during undergrad? Yes. I think Caitlin actually knows, Caitlin knows everybody, but a lot of people who have done this. I've known a couple people, but it is pretty common. A lot of people are starting to do this biotechnology fusion with business, because it is such a growing business, a booming industry. And that's actually one of the a really big demand right now. Does anybody else have anything they want to add about that?
I just want to say, like, really anything's possible if you want to set your mind to it. You can do whatever you want to do, you know? And I think that's the great thing about our major too, is there's so many applications to it. Like, I don't think we can really emphasize that enough. Like, I've heard of people going to law school. I've heard of people going into the Peace Corps and doing volunteering after their major. I've heard people go into teaching or just, you know, hanging out, going and traveling the world. So like it's whatever you want to do.
We also have a lot of people getting internships at biotech companies around the campus. So we have Raytheon and Ventana, I think, are like the big ones. And usually those people will then either get an actual job at that company if they like intern for several summers and they really like it, or they go and branch off and are like, wow, I really find this amazing. And sometimes they'll be a science technician just for like a couple more years, or like you said, go ahead and have their MBAs in order to be get a little more like head start on the business side of things. And then they'll go and open up their own biotech company just because they've learned so much that they can do that.
Also think there's programs on the campus. Sorry, I'm also on the board, guys. Hello. There's a couple things like programs on campus. One of them is like a tech incubator that you can join if you have a business idea, or you can also join some of the other, I think the other initiatives are more so like accelerators. So they give you a grant to launch your idea from like start. And then after that idea gets taken off, other programs show interest in you. And that's how that part of it grows while you're still in the major specifically. But it's also a degree where you can get like a mixture between MCB and law, I think. And it's along the lines of what Victoria was talking about with the patents. But in this case, it's more so like you're changing laws for science, like GMOs and like doing like how they want to release a bunch of mosquitoes, things like that. So.
Yeah, there you can honestly mesh this degree with anything and be good to go. Okay, so does taking MCB programs in high school help and make a big difference in college? I have MCB. Does that put me ahead? Yes. I honestly, it depends on kind of, so if your goal is to do less like entry level classes in college, what you can do is you can check online. Like I know the U of A has a transfer credit type thing. So if you're taking them from like a community college or something like that, that's what I did in high school. I went to like an exceptionally crappy high school. So what I did was I took like community college classes and then those transferred over to where I didn't have to take them in high school. So it depends if you want to like start off like what level you want to do, if you want to do like the harder classes and then not have to take them while in college, or take elementary and really get that nice foundation. Either way, it's a great idea. It really is a great idea. But if you want to make sure they transfer, I would check with your desired major at the U of A directly, so that they could be able to see how that would transfer over, if that makes sense.
To add on, I think there's like two ways you can transfer credit. There's AP credit and there's dual enrollment, which Alyssa explained, where you go to community college and get credit. So with AP exams, which is what I did, you take a couple, as many AP exams as you're willing to take, and they transfer over here. So I got to skip a few gen eds. I got to skip like lower level maths, which helped a lot in allowing me to get closer to looking into more MCB classes. Also, MCB classes, I don't know what your MCB 101 or 103 have, but if they like teach you on basics on photosynthesis, cellular respiration, transcription, translation, all that jazz, and like immune response, stuff like that, it will put you into a good, like it will have a good base for you in order to build off of it as you go into your undergraduate career.
I would like to add that I'm a triple major right now, and that's because I came in with 60 AP credits. So basically that took off all of the like basic science courses from my major. So I got to, instead of taking those basic science courses again, because I did like well in them in high school and I felt like I had solid foundation in them, I was able to add another degree that was just for fun kind of.
Yeah, that's honestly that is a really big thing. I think we just saw that you are taking them at the U of A, and that's really, really cool. I think that yeah, taking them from a university, especially like this, it will really help you prepare for the 181 and the 182. And then from there on out, because you'll be taking biology pretty much from then on out. Okay, is there a way to intersect MCB with journalism? Absolutely. Absolutely, I cannot emphasize that enough. What you could do, what a possible option could be, would be do an MCB major and then do a journalism major. And I think that would be great. Honestly, your career field is probably going to look pretty bright for the sole reason that scientists always struggle to get their ideas across to the general public, and you would learn those articulation skills that would be so valuable in really helping when you're writing grants or when you're helping writing like papers for newspapers and things like that. It would help people understand that content, which I think is so great. Anybody else have anything you want to share about that?
Yeah, so we actually have an education and communications emphasis within our major, which is if you're really interested in doing journalism or, communicating with the public, it's a really great way. So you don't have to take too many more classes. I'm going to drop a link to this like emphasis, and you can see kind of the layout of the classes that you would take if you chose to do this emphasis. And it's super cool.
We also have a newspaper I think it's student run, might also be faculty contributing, but it's called the MCB Nucleotimes, and I think it's bi-weekly. So you can absolutely like also write into that, and usually they write about like new discoveries being done in science, the science being done on campus, research lab on campus. So there's absolutely like a way to work on that also.
Alrighty, I did miss this question, so I'm sorry, but I'm coming back to it. Are there research opportunities in MCB for freshmen at the U of A? Absolutely. I started off my first year at the U of A. I'm sure a lot of my board did as well. It's actually super cool. They actually prefer you to be younger because they want to like keep you for a long time. So they want to like train you and then like, keep you for a long time while you're doing research, which is great for you because that looks great on resumes, but also great for them because they don't have to train a new person to do these things. So absolutely. If you want like help like reaching out to faculty members, so this is something that I actually did not know when I came to the U of A. I didn't know like how to get involved in research, but what you kind of do is you go to your desired interest and then like research about faculty members that are doing research there. So for instance, I'm really interested in mosquito vector diseases like malaria and Zika and yellow fever and all those. And so what I did was I found the faculty members that were studying mosquitoes and then emailed them personally like, hi, my name's Alyssa. I've really enjoyed reading your papers about, fill in the blank of whatever they've written their papers about. And then say something along the lines of, I would love to learn more from you. If there's any like opportunities you have for undergraduate research assistants, I would be very interested in getting involved with that. And most of the time they'll either one, not answer, or two, they'll answer you back, but a lot of times you don't get a lot of answers. And that's where kind of being the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So like after you wait a week, no answer, like send them another email or just that's honestly the best way to go about it is just kind of be persistent and always butter up the person that you're talking to, just be like, wow, your research is so great about mosquito eggshell formation. It blew my mind about all these different proteins and things like that. Professors love to hear about themselves, like, and the research they've done. I mean, we all do, but like, it's one of those things where it like helps break the ice, lets them know that you have done enough research into their research to know that you are a good fit, and then they'll kind of go from there. My board members, have you guys had any experiences with like getting research or getting involved in that sort of thing?
So below, I linked a link to UBIP, which is a very good program, undergraduate biology research program. I'm not personally in it, but a lot of my roommates and friends are, in which you apply as an application during the spring semester, any time of any year, I believe. I think they prefer sophomores or freshmen, depending on the situation. And then when you get it, I believe during the summer, they will pay you for your research, which is also a good perk to have. So it's a really great program in order to connect with faculty in biology. and in order to get the full-on, hands-on summer program research opportunity.
Yeah, and going off both of them, if you have a professor who you really connected with in their class, if you did really well, or if you just really enjoyed them as a lecturer, if you go and talk to them about a potential research opportunity in their lab, they're more likely to say yes because they know you as well. So that's just another little tip.
I think the only thing I'd like to add is you can also get paid for research, which I thought was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, no, doing research has been very rewarding. I've definitely, that's probably been actually one of my most favorite things at the U of A to do. Alrighty, so we have another question. What jobs are you guys considering once you graduate with an MCB major? So I actually wanted to get my PhD in infectious disease research and vaccinology. And I kind of want to do what Victoria's aunt is doing and start my own nonprofit, researching mosquito vector diseases and trying to find cures for places in developing countries where there hasn't been a lot of scientific funding for these diseases, especially, you know, things like Zika, where it was really prevalent within the United States, and then, you know, it was gone after a couple of months. And I just think that that's kind of twisted how, you know, we were able to get rid of it so quickly in the United States, but places like Brazil and Costa Rica, they still have these diseases. They're still prevalent. They're still causing harm. And I just kind of want to try to try to equalize the playing field when it comes to health, because I feel like health is a fundamental right. But anyway, that's my dreams. What does everybody else want to do?
Honestly, I am a junior, 1 year away from graduating, and I still have no idea. Which, you know, I had to come to terms with, because I came in like just thinking like, oh yeah, I know what I want to do. I'm going to do this. And then life happens and you're like, hey, I have a whole new perspective on things and I kind of want to do this. So the answer is, I don't know.
For me, I want to go to med school. So a lot of work, a lot of stuff like that, and trying to keep my grades up. But if that does not work out, I was thinking of probably trying to get a PhD in public health. But there's a lot of doors open for everyone when they join and become an MCB major. So I could change my mind in the next month or two even. So.
Yeah, when I first came in, I thought I was gonna get a PhD, do my bachelor's, get a PhD, start my own lab. But honestly, I am really not into grant writing and the whole like business side of it, which I found out over the years working in a research lab. And so this year I've spent a lot of time researching other possible careers. And the ones that I'm currently like the most interested in is being a lab tech, so just working in the lab by itself, being a forensic scientist, or being a genetic counselor.
Yeah, I think going off that, coming into college, I knew I wanted to work with genetics, and that was like the only thing I knew. So now I'm kind of thinking of doing genetic counseling. However, you know, that could change in the next couple of years.
Yeah, we're all kind of similar boats, feels like. I came here to get my degree in surgery, well, my degree in MCB, so that I could continue on to be a cardiothoracic surgeon. And then I started getting an interest in research itself, and I thought I wanted to be MD PhD. So I took that on for a little bit, joined a lab. Then I found out that there's another option, which is starting a company, which is Dentistry. So that's currently where I'm at now, and I'm trying to balance between my school, my life, and running a company. So super fun.
Yeah. So I just also wanted to address the question that I just got. It was about how I studied abroad, and they were asking how I was able to do that. So I didn't actually do that with the MCB major. So I'm pursuing a minor in public health right now. And that's kind of what I'm thinking I want to do with my future. But as far as how I applied, there's an online portal, and I went to a lot of information sessions on, how to make yourself, look really interesting to professors who are leading study abroad programs. And then I went through an interview process with the program that was, considering me for it. And I was actually super lucky. I was able to go as a freshman, and typically I would say freshmen don't go, but I also came in with a bunch of credits. So I think that also had to factor in with it. And then I studied abroad. So it was really awesome. And I highly, highly recommend that you apply to as many as you can, if you can.
Just because I don't think I know this, where did you go for your study abroad?
Yeah, so we were studying human sexualities in Northern Europe. So I was able to go to Belgium, Copenhagen, and the Netherlands. And that was about a 4-week trip. And we, visited hospitals. We went to a lot of like HIV and AIDS clinics because we were studying human sexuality and how that impacts infectious diseases. But super cool.
That's amazing.
And I'm actually a preceptor for the class that's taught here on campus. So I really like it.
That is so cool. I didn't know that. So thank you for whoever asked that question. And thank you, Caitlin, for sharing. Okay, so we have, do you enjoy and recommend the honor college? So I am not in the honor college. So anybody who is, do you guys want to go ahead and talk about it?
Yes. So I am in the honors college. I applied right prior to actually attending here. I was so excited when I was accepted. I would say do it. I think the only additional thing you have to do is write a thesis when you reach your senior year or before you graduate, really. But again, you have someone to help you with that. An added bonus, I would say, to being enrolled in the honors college is you get to enroll in classes before everyone else. So that really ensures that you get the classes you want and you stay on track. And you also have a specific honors advisor to, really help you with your process along this. But I think Caitlin's also in honors college, and Anthony too. And in Victoria, who am I kidding?
Also, to add on, there's like other opportunities you can have with the honors college. So if you want to get into a research lab, a lot of professors love seeing the honors student. Like you can always send an email like, I'm an honors student at the U of A, and they really like bringing in honors students. So that's a good perk. Also, if you want to take more challenging courses or like more discussion type smaller class courses, the honors college provides that. I mean, like I took honors Gen Chem. That was rough, but it was pretty interesting, and learning with I believe Dr. Pollard. So that was lots of fun. Also, like I'm right now in MCB 301, and if you take the honors course of that, you get an added 1 credit, like nice discussion post where I can read research papers and learn new interesting stuff every week, which I thoroughly enjoy to do. So there's a lot of perks with having the being in the honors college. Plus, you get to live in a really nice dorm if you ever get in there in the freshman year. The Honors Village is a great dorm. They have the 85 North, where you can basically walk in buffet, $10, 1 hour. It's great, and then the rooms are pretty nice. And you got the North Rec right across. So living in the as an honors student is pretty good at the university.
I also just wanted to know, if you do decide to do honors, you're not like locked in to doing the honors thesis. You can choose not to do it. You just won't get that honors designation on your graduation thing. So that's just a quick note.
I also got a question. Hi, I'm a senior in high school right now with future plans on attending med school. I want to ask what advice you would give me. How would I know that this is the right pre-med track, is the right choice for me? Thank you. So we have advisors for each major, and our main advisors are Justin and Kara, and they're really helpful. So they gave me pretty much a sheet of paper, and it was like, all right, this is what usually pre-med majors do. And he gave me a rundown of my next 4 years, literally right when I like walked in orientation, and I was like, ooh, this is great. So I believe it's 2 semesters of general chemistry, 2 semesters of OChem, 2 semesters of Gen Bio, and then I believe a psychology course, physics courses, 2 of them, I believe. And those are like the prerequisites that you require for med school. They also like to see volunteering at hospital settings. So currently I'm scribing at the university pod, where we vaccinate about 3,000, 4,000 people a day, which is lots of fun. You can also, they also like seeing research. So you can go out and do research, pretty much UBIRP, anything like that, and they'll love to see that. So what advice I would give you is honestly study hard, and when you're in high school, take the courses that would help you the most. Honestly, there's like I believe prerequisites include mathematics, like calculus, all that, biostatistics. Those are important classes that I overlooked in high school. So when I got into college, I had a little bit difficulty taking those classes because I was never exposed, especially statistics. So a good advice is when you're in high school, try to get like volunteering opportunities, try to get into classes such as like AP Bio is a great class, statistics is a great class to take, especially calculus as well. And those would help you in your prerequisite classes that you will take in college.
Alrighty, well, I think that's all the questions I have. Does anybody else have any questions? Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for coming out tonight again. We really appreciate you guys spending the evening with us tonight. And let us know if you have any other questions. Feel free to reach out to us. We are absolutely, yes, Victoria was nice enough to put her email. I'll throw mine down there too. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to any of us. We were all in your situation once. And honestly, the more we work together to try to help build up this field, the more medical advancements will be made, the more we will get to know and understand each other better. And it's literally just all around a really great thing. So again, feel free to reach out to us at our email addresses or anything like that. And feel free to ask us your questions. But with that being said, if there's no other questions, feel free to enjoy the rest of your evening.
Oh, I have one more question.
Yes.
When I applied to the U of A, the Honors College application was already closed. Is it possible to apply for my future years? I believe you can apply to the Honors College. I'm not really sure about that. So if anyone would like to chime in on it.
Yeah, you absolutely can. You can apply, I think, even for your like full semester, you can start. So basically, like once you have your fall semester, you can apply for the spring semester and then go on from there. And I know they also decrease the amount of like honors credits that you need to get throughout your 4 years based on when you apply in order to like graduate with honors, just to accommodate for that. So absolutely.
Yeah, you guys are welcome. Thank you for coming. Good night, everybody.